Welcome back to Your Fantasy Nerd, where today we'll be talking about busts like our buddies Ryan Leaf and David Carr, and overvalued. So we're going to go right into it with our quarterbacks. First guy on this list, Drew Brees.
I see some people saying Drew Brees is a top 3 fantasy quarterback this year. Are you kidding me? The guy's getting older. He lost his number 1 target, Jimmy Graham. I just don't think it's going to be a top 3. He's going to be in the bottom part of the top 10, maybe number 9 or 10. He's getting older. He's losing his number 1 target. I just don't see the magic there for Brees this year.
Is he a bust or overvalued?
I think he's overvalued.
Okay. I sort of agree with that. Next guy we'll talk about, Phillip Rivers. To me, Phillip Rivers he was like the 13th best quarterback last year. He has his games, he has his moments, but the team this year, they really made no changes. They added Melvin Gordon, obviously, but wide receiver-wise, their wide receiver core is awful, except for Antonio Gates. Keenan Allen just had a miracle season his rookie year. He's really not that good. I just don't like that team all that much.
And they lost Eddie Royal, who was a consistent
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
pass catcher for them.
They don't have the weapons. Phil Rivers is a great quarterback. I just don't like the weapons they have, that's all. So that's the reason he's a bust. But he's a bust. Don't draft him as a QB1. Next quarterback we'll talk about, Nick Foles.
I have him as a bust, not overvalued, a bust.
Yeah.
I have this because who's he going to throw the football to?
That's
Tavon Austin's the wide receiver 2. Kenny Britt.
You're going from Jeremy Maclin to Tavon Austin as your number 1 option, so that's pretty brutal.
I think you can't really regret the trade. I think they're getting the better quarterback experience-wise in the trade they made for Sam Bradford to get him. I just don't think Jared Cook is a hit-or-miss guy as a tight end. I just don't see who they're going to throw the football to.
Where do you have him compared to where other people have him?
Most people
I have him lower.
Most people have him like 13 or 14. He's around there.
Yeah, I have him at 18.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. So you really hate him. I agree. I think that's a fair assessment. The next guy we'll talk about, definitely overvalued, not a bust. We don't want to confuse people here. Eddie Lacy.
I like Eddie Lacy a lot. I'm going to be honest. I just don't think he can be the number 1 overall pick. I think you do that, you're making a mistake. A lot of people have him as their number 1 overall pick, and I'm telling you, I don't think he should be in that position. That offense throws the football a lot, especially in the red zone. Lacy's going to get touchdowns, going to get touches, but a lot of other backs are involved in the passing game, and the fact that he is not involved in the passing game is why I don't really think he should be the number 1 overall pick in many drafts.
Yeah, all the top running backs are usually good pass catchers, so we'll see if Lacy ends up being, but I agree. So next guy we'll talk about, I think that he's been a bust for me for a really long time, never has really done it, Arian Foster. Thing with Arian Foster is I have him at 13, so relatively low compared to most people. I think the thing with him is he's getting up there. He's not really old yet, he's only 28. But in that offense, I mean, he's going to have 8 guys in the box every single play. Their only guy that can catch the ball is DeAndre Hopkins. With Andre Johnson gone,
I disagree.
They don't have a weapon out there except for Hopkins that they can just like say, all right, Foster, you're one of 8 guys in the box. Who's their quarterback? Who's going to start for them? That's the thing.
I think Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer. Okay, fine. So if Brian Hoyer starts, he has 7 guys in the box. How about that? No. But I just don't like Foster at all. I just think he hasn't played a full season since 2011.
He had a solid fantasy year last year, though.
He did when he played. So if you don't mind him sitting you 3 or 4 games a year, fine. But even so, I think he digresses a little bit this year.
But they got Cecil Shorts there now?
Nah, I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
I don't care.
They drafted Jalen Strong.
Fine. You can name those wide receivers are fine, but they're not.
Nate Washington.
Yeah, you can stop at that point. They're just come on now. But next guy we'll talk about is DeMarco Murray. For you,
overvalued, not a bust.
Yeah.
They got just a crowded backfield. Guys, I think who can produce a lot in that offense. I don't know. They have Darren Sproles, who you saw the numbers he put up last year with McCoy even there. Pretty good numbers for running back too. But is he going to be the RB3 or 2 there? Because they got Ryan Matthews, who they signed. They signed 2 running backs for substantial deals. So I don't know how they're going to work this 3 running back set. I don't know how it's going to work out. And I don't know if DeMarco Murray knows how it's going to work out. Mm-hmm. But they gave him a lot of money to take him from the in-division rival. So I don't know. I have him as an overvalued, not a bust. he's a running back 2 this year for me because you don't know what they're going to do with that 3 running back position.
Yeah, I agree. Now we're going to talk about Mark Ingram, and this is solely because CJ Spiller's there. Ingram, he's not a bad running back. I mean, obviously he had a good year last year, but this was the first year he had a good year last year, and it was in the absence of a catching back in that New Orleans offense. Gaining a catching back in CJ Spiller. Yeah, and Thomas really, I don't know what happened to him last year. I guess coaches gave up on him. He's getting up there. So
he's not even signed. He's a free agent right now.
Yeah, so I just think CJ Spiller is going to be the better running back in New Orleans this year. I love CJ Spiller this
year. But does the touchdowns worry you? Because I think Ingram will be on the goal line.
Yeah, but I still don't think that it matters all that much because Darren Sproles wasn't a touchdown guy. He was like the 10th running back every year. So
very true.
I don't like Ingram this year. And then the final running back we're going to talk about, Matt Forte. What do you think about Matt Forte?
Another overvalued, not a bust. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what John Fox is going to do. He's got great running backs. The thing is they drafted Langford and they have Carey, who I think are 2 running backs who can actually contribute in that offense. You've seen what John Fox does with running backs. He used Ball, Anderson, and they used another guy.
For Denver? Ball, Anderson, Juwan Thompson?
Juwan Thompson, yeah. He had a game where he broke out, and you don't know what to expect. I think Forte, he's obviously a stud. Most receptions out of running back. It's unbelievable what he does out of the backfield. Don't get me wrong, but I just think they're going to be more of a passing team towards the wide receivers and tight ends this year. Because that's just my opinion.
Contract year 2, I think that kind of actually hurts Forte because they're looking at it as...
I don't think he'll be back at the Bears.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they care all that much.
And I think the Bears are starting over. They're rebuilding.
They're looking for Langford and Carey. So next guy we'll talk about is moving on to wide receivers. Another Green Bay guy. For someone who likes Green Bay, this is quite interesting. You have so many overvalued. Randall Cobb.
I see the emergence of Davante Adams to be, I might even say the number 2 target in Green Bay.
Really?
To be honest. Maybe not this year, maybe next year, but Davante Adams, his role increased as the season went on. He's a big guy. Rodgers likes throwing to him. And I think Cobb, for that reason, production will fall. He's already the 2nd guy in that offense. So moving backwards to the 3rd guy in that passing offense could be tough for him. And some people have him as a wide receiver 1. I don't see him being able to produce like he did last year. That's why I have him overvalued. So I'm not saying he's a bust. I just think people are a little too high on him with the emergence of Adams, and he just had such a good year last year. I don't think he could repeat it.
Yeah, the next guy we'll talk about is Kelvin Benjamin. To me, this is someone who just, in his rookie year, he was a great player. I'm not taking anything away from him. But I don't know. I just see him hitting that sophomore slump. It's just kind of a gut feeling. I know I can't really say that because it's not something that you would obviously trust, a gut feeling, but I don't know. I just don't love the Cam Newton, Kelvin Benjamin whole thing going on there.
I think he'll steal some touchdowns away from Benjamin.
Maybe.
See, the thing is, that sophomore slump, you see a lot of people.
And you saw what Stewart did at the end of the year.
But when you talk about a sophomore slump, you see a guy who exploded in his rookie year.
He did. He had a great season.
Exploded, but he was consistently good. He didn't just explode.
I like Benjamin, so.
You see a guy like Odell Beckham who exploded for the last 4 games. I think he's more. He has more potential to hit that sophomore slump versus Benjamin, who's consistent throughout the season. He was the number 1 target. He actually had a good game against Richard Sherman, which I think was encouraging just to see him do that well.
And Sherman actually complimented him after the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. For someone who had 9 touchdowns, 1,000 yards, that sounds like a good stat line. But for someone who's usually a touchdown-reliant guy, I don't know if he's going to repeat all the touchdowns. So we'll see how that goes. Carolina's not a pass-happy team. He was literally their only option last year. It's not like they gained anyone else. Obviously, Funchess, as you said, but I don't know. I don't love Benjamin this year. I have him as a low wide receiver too. Next guy we'll talk about, Brandon Marshall.
Okay, I'll put these short and sweet. I'll put my other wide receiver in there, Torrey Smith and Brandon Marshall. Same reasons, they don't have anyone to throw him the football to. I don't think Kaepernick's a good quarterback. Geno Smith obviously is terrible. Are they going to put... I think their best quarterback option in the Jets is actually to put Bryce Petty back there. I think he could end up being one of the best quarterbacks in the draft class. And I don't think Ryan Fitzpatrick, Geno Smith will cut the job because I don't think Geno Smith will be starting after week 3 because they already announced him as a starter, which blows my mind. And then I just don't think Colin Kaepernick is a good quarterback. They lost one of their best offensive linemen. They lost two of them. They're like Iapati and Davis. Everything's downhill for the 49ers. They need to just start over.
I saw you not liking that. What did you not like about what he said?
Bryce Petty as a starting quarterback this year, that's questionable.
I'm not saying this year. I'm just saying I think it's a better option than Geno Smith and Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Okay.
But
that's fair.
I think when you look at Bryce Petty and Geno Smith, I mean, it's hard to not see the comparison. You know, you see the Big 12 similar, just throw the ball all over the field style offenses.
Yeah, when was the last good Big 12 quarterback?
I mean,
in the NFL.
Stay on topic here.
I'm just okay, fine, but I'm just saying I kind of agree. I've never seen a good Big 12 quarterback recently, at least. If I can't think of one, Sam Bradford, whatever. Okay. Anyway, the last wide receiver we're going to talk about, AJ Green. I just think this offense is going to be similar to Dallas. I've said it 100 times. I understand that, but
I'll say it again. AJ McCarron.
Yeah.
If anyone's listening to the Bengals organization.
But the thing about him, the comparison is made, well, Des Bryant had a great year. Des Bryant's different than A.J. Green. Des Bryant is like the second best
A.J.
wide
Green
receiver
also
in
gets
football.
turf toe every week, so.
He does. I mean, Green has his weeks. But just in that offense, Marvin Jones coming back, 10 touchdowns 2 years ago. He'll take stuff away.
They'll use the
Don't
tight
forget,
ends
Tyler
this year.
Eifert got hurt week 2.
They're going to use their tight ends.
Gresham's gone, so Eifert's going to be the man there. But he'll steal away some things. It was Green and
they
no
got
one
Bernard
else.
out of the backfield to
Yeah.
catch balls. I agree with that pick.
Yeah, I just think A.J. Green's in for a sort of a slump. I have him as a wide receiver. I have him at 11, actually. So he's a low-end wide receiver 1, but guys have him at 6, 7. He's very consistent, but I just don't think he'll do it this year. And then finally, we're going to talk about some tight ends. First off, Jimmy Graham.
Address that it's an overvalue.
Jeez,
At first I'd like to say he's not going to be a bust. He's going to be an overvalue. Some people have him as, I mean, even in bigger leagues, a first-round pick. Wow, that's just not okay. This is a guy who, coming to Seattle, I don't think he'll have as big of a role. He's going to be a little bit more play action, but he's not going to be the focal point of their offense. He was the focal point of the Saints offense. Saints offense revolved around what Jimmy Graham would do. That's not the case in Seattle. They're about running the football. And speaking of running the football, I don't see he's struggled blocking. Their coaches have said the O-line coach has been frustrated with his blocking. So it's going to be interesting to see how much he gets on the field, in especially early down situations, considering he has not been blocking very well in their OTAs apparently. And it's good. We'll see how it plays out, but I just don't see him repeating what he's done.
I 100% disagree with that. I think the play action will benefit him.
Maybe, yeah. I do think, though, that offense has nothing to do with... It doesn't have nothing to do
They
with...
have no one to throw the football to, and now they have Jimmy Graham. They'll be giving him the ball as much as they can.
Probably. They will, but I just think that... I actually agree with you, though. I think that he'll have a lesser season. He didn't have a good season last year at all, though, so... Compared to what he usually does, he won't do that well, so...
Fair enough.
The next tight end we're going to talk about is Zach Ertz. For me, Zach Ertz was a guy that was hugely hyped last year. Someone who people were saying top 5 tight end. Didn't do that last year. I think the main reason for that is that Zach Ertz is actually the second... He plays actually sometimes less than Brent Selleck, who's the other tight end in Philadelphia, who's more of the pass blocker. I think Brent Selleck...
40-year-old.
Yeah, he had 400 yards catching last year as a tight end, Brent Selleck. Ertz had like 650, so Ertz does catch the ball more, but Brent Selleck is still there. I just don't think that in a 2 tight end offense with already guys like Jordan Matthews, they're going to get Darren Sproles the ball, Ryan Matthews, DeMarco Murray. Ertz is not a tight end number 1. If you want to take him at your own risk, go ahead, but I would not suggest taking him as a tight end number 1. So... And then the final guy we're going to talk about here, Charles Clay.
Worst decision Charles Clay could have made, not staying in Miami. Why go to Buffalo? Who's going to throw you the football? E.J. Manuel? They're saying in Buffalo, if E.J. Manuel doesn't make, if he's not the starting quarterback, that they're going to cut him. And I don't agree with that because you need good backups because I don't think anyone there is going to be able to throw the football. And they have LaShawn McCoy, and they're going to run. And when they are going to pass, they're not going to pass to Charles Clay. They're going to pass to Sammy Watkins and Robert Woods.
You can go ahead and comment your thoughts below. Subscribe to our channel at Your Fantasy Nerd, and go check us out at yourfantasynerd.com. Have a good day, fellas.
Watch out.